if there is an actual threat of danger, you will need to get followers really, really fast.
If the house is on fire, we can't have a discussion and form a democratic process around whether we should leave the house or not. Someone needs to take command and say, we need to leave this area right now.
Yeah. Well, I will try to mentor you to understand that you need to leave the room, or I try to coach you
into leaving the burning house. No.
In other situations, of course, this type of leadership is very destructive, and we can get our role models from other areas. For instance, leading by example, leading as a coach, or as perhaps a theater director, or as old Socrates. Leading by asking questions and not having the answer yourself. Leading by telling people where to go, or taking them by the hand and lead them to the source of knowledge. But you need to make the choice, depending on the current situation. You choose which type of leader you want to be and what the situation demands. And a way of naming this is by saying that this is actually conscious leadership. Leadership adapted to the current situation. So it's hard to define leadership, but there are some things that we actually know about leadership.
Yes. Common themes or threads, aspects or phenomena that tend to show up in a lot of different leadership research. One of the things that we do know is the way we started this talk, that there actually is no universal leadership model. There's no way of leading that will work in every situation. So any leadership needs to adapt to the situation that you're in.
Yeah. So leadership is a situation-dependent phenomenon, and it is an influential process towards achieving a goal.
And I would like also to stop on the word process there. Yeah. It's not static. It's not something where we establish that you're the leader, I'm the follower, and that's the way it's going to be from now on. It's a continual process where I follow you as long as I deem you worthy of following. So you need to make continual investments. And so I think that also goes back to the difference between manager and leader. Even though I've gotten this position of a manager, we're not done yet. No. It's still a process of leading and following. Yeah. So that process word is actually very important.
Yeah. And that the leader and the follower has a responsibility within this process. Mm-hmm. Very important. Another point, nobody is born a leader. Might surprise some of you, but this is actually shown in research. Leadership is definitely something you can learn and train. Definitely we can be born with certain qualities that will help us in different types of different situations, but no one is sort of born a universal leader that can handle all type of situation. We will be good in different types of situations, but we can learn and train our ability to adapt to different situations.
And that's also something that we, having done this for a total of 45 years together, together sometimes and sometimes apart, but training managers and leaders, we could speak from experience. Yes. that we have seen people who didn't think themselves perhaps that they were leaders develop the skills and competencies they need to lead other people. Yeah.
And leadership can be done both directly and indirectly. So as a leader, you don't always have to be sort of in the spotlight and tell people what to do. You can also work more as creating a situation, creating an atmosphere, an environment in which things are happening sort of by themselves. Mm-hmm. So your work has sort of been done by creating the environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Setting up frameworks, rules to work by, methods, and so on and so on. Creating a common framework for people to work within, and then you don't have to be there for the work to get done. Yeah. And leadership is a collective process that involves and can be shared between several different actors. So it's not necessarily bound to one person. Both in, I would say, literature, storytelling, the media, drama, and so on, we often tend to want to see the leader, one leader, that is both responsible when we succeed for all the success, and is also responsible if we fail for the whole failure. Yeah. And in reality, leadership is something that is divided between several people in a group, and it could be within one meeting that leadership goes between different people. Yeah. The one that does the social influencing towards the common goal in this moment, and that other people follow in that moment.
Yeah, and in that sense, it's perhaps better not to talk about co-workers, but rather say co-leaders. Mm-hmm. So that is perhaps something to think about as a follower. That being a good follower means sometimes that you step into the role of the leader. Leadership is far too important to leave to managers alone, I think. Leadership leadership behaviors focus on tasks or relationships, and as David said previously, that's an important aspect of being a leader, to really spend time on building working relationships.
And that's also a good reflection question for anyone assuming a management role or aspiring to be a leader in any sense. It is, where do I tend to focus? Do I tend in most situations to focus on the tasks, the outcomes, the structures, or do I tend to focus on the relationships, the people, the communication, the thing that's happening between us? Yeah. And just having that insight can help you create an atmosphere where you can get help with the things that you're not as comfortable with, or that isn't your preference necessarily. So that you can focus on something that you're good at. But all teams, all organizations needs both. I would say we need both a task orientation. We need to know what to do, the common goal, what we want to achieve, but we also need working relationships to make that happen. Without those working relationships, we will get nowhere.
No. Leadership involves both change and managing tasks and personnel. And leadership as a phenomenon is colored by the prevailing time, spirit, and discourse. And that last final point is of course important, and something that you of course need to bear in mind is that we're sitting here in Sweden with our discourse, our prevailing time and spirit, which may not be exactly the same as the situation that you are within. And this will definitely define also leadership and what is good leadership.